Okay, we're on demo number 2 of AI agents from the newsletter AI for the Rest of Us. This is part 2, or this is on part 2 of Agents Rising, which, again, newsletter about AI agents. Demo number 2. Demo number 1, I walked through something called deep research from ChatGPT. For this demo, I'm going to walk through something else by ChatGPT called Operator. And again, it's not because ChatGPT has the best agents or I'm recommending you use these. It is simply because they have released 2 agents that are accessible for the rest of us. And they are fairly easy to use. This second one, like I said, is called Operator. I'm going to show you how it works, how to get to it, all that stuff. I will say that it's very similar to deep research in the sense that you have to have a pro subscription to access it. And the pro subscription is $200 a month right now. It won't always be like that. These will be available probably for free within the next few months is my guess. Right now, though, they're putting it behind a paywall because they just want people who are serious about using them to use them. I'm not at all recommending you get a pro subscription. If you want more about that, want more information about that, go to the other demo number 1 on deep research. Okay, this is Operator by ChatGPT. Let me show you how you get to it. Open up the sidebar here. Everyone has a sidebar. Oh, you can see all my past chats there. Click on Operator, and then you're going to be taken to an entirely separate website, as you see. Now, Operator is an agent, like I said. It's pretty basic. It goes to the web, and it does things for you on the web. They've kept it fairly one-dimensional. But it can do a bunch of different things like order groceries. I mean, you can see some of the things here. It can order groceries, set up a hair appointment for you. Obviously Uber, all this kind of stuff. Which is, you can kind of do that right now with Siri. It can book travel, start to finish. It can actually pay for the flights, things like that. I'll show you a little bit about that in a little bit. Some of the random stuff that they don't recommend, but I've used it for. It can fill out forms for you, which I actually used it a couple of days ago for some tax form I needed to fill out, and it has all of my information and just filled it out for me, which was great. So here's how it works. I'm not going to go into the technical details of it because that's not what this is for, but I will share something that OpenAI, again, makers of ChatGPT, something that they shared, the way they talk about it, which I actually found and have found to be pretty great for the rest of us. So it can see, quote, or using quotes again, and it does that through screenshots. It takes hundreds, I think, of screenshots. It doesn't show you behind the scenes, but that's what it does. It can, quote, see the web, and then it, quote, interacts with the web, like using all the actions of a mouse and a keyboard. And it does that within a browser, and you'll see in just a second. And then if it comes across any challenges, I guess, or hits some walls or makes mistakes, whatever, what it does is it leverages ChatGPT, the large language model, and its reasoning capabilities to correct itself. I know that sounds kind of complicated probably, but basically when it gets stuck, it starts to go through its process of the large language model, which you have access to. And then when it really gets stuck, it will just hand the controls back over to you, whoever the user is, and then it just makes sure it's a little bit collaborative. But since I've done it, it hasn't really handed back controls unless it's needed my credit card. It's kind of funny to say that. Okay, let me show you. I'm going to do a real scenario here. I've not tested this fully, but it's my wife's birthday coming up. To order flowers for my wife. Her birthday is on Monday. Okay. She likes tulips. I know that. Preferred vendor, no preferred vendor. But let's try something local. So you see that it's using its own browser. I'm going to open this up like this. This is not my browser. It is its browser, OpenAI's browser. And I can click on and take control if I want at any point, but I'm not. I'm going to let it go through it. And you can see what it's doing here. This is the agentic part. This is where it's working on its own and it's showing you what it's doing. Ah, okay. Oh, can we find something for around 50? I know, I'm cheap. Don't tell my wife. Okay, so you can see it browsing. And again, I can take over at any point and use its browser. So if I just get frustrated. While it's doing this, one other major thing here, which I mentioned in the other video, I am not recommending you do this right now. This is not ready for the rest of us. This is, and they also, it's also in a, what they call a research preview. Basically means they're just testing it out and they want just regular people to test it out. And they're making it better and all that kind of stuff. This is just, the purpose of this video is simply to show you what an agent is. Step one of an agent, or I should say, a good analogy that I've come up with is that the iPhone. Your iPhone has an operating system. It has an operating system, and it's now on, like, I don't know, 15 or something, and it gives you the updates. Like, do you want to update to iPhone, or maybe it's on 10? Think about this as we're on point 1. We're literally on the operating system point 1. The next few months and years, it will continue to get better, and they'll continue to release better systems. So if we're on operating system 5 in a few years, that's like talking into Siri and saying, I want you to order flowers for my wife. And Siri will know what she likes, the budget you usually do, all that kind of stuff. So it looks like it ran into an issue with Norton's florist. They couldn't find anything in the $50 range. Give it a little challenge. Okay, I'm going to speed it up and then we'll come back in a little bit. There you go. The order is done. It's getting delivered. Now you know my wife's birthday. You can wish her a happy birthday. And not happy about the delivery fee, but it is what it is right now. You saw when I made a fast motion, whatever, sped up the video. You probably saw that I was responding to a couple things. It needed my, let's see. It had some trouble finding tulips for $50, which I think you saw. So I said expand beyond that. You may have also noticed as it did its search, it was using Bing, which is not the best search engine, although it's gotten better. It's limited in that capacity. I'm not going to get into why they do that, but it was. And also, it went to a funeral website that specializes in condolence flowers, and it was leaning very heavily into that. And that's because it was limited to searching the web, and really whoever is paying the most to get their website up to the top, essentially, what was happening there, I could tell from the ads. And so it was going towards the ads, which is a bit annoying. You can't change that. I could have been, I think, more specific. I'm sure local florist in our zip code that, mom and pop. I don't know. I'm sure I could have specified. The other thing I'll mention is that it did need my credit card information, which I paused. Didn't want you to see me type that in. In the future, it will have all of that, just like Websites have that, just like Amazon has your stuff stored and it's secure and safe. And it'll have my address and phone number and all that. I wrote a message. Usually, I like to think I'm more eloquent than that, but I wanted to just go through. And then and then it said it. And then I'll post something with the flowers. They're apparently arriving. I'll check my email. I'm sure I got a confirmation email, and that's what I did. Obviously, many limitations. Like I said earlier, think about this as version 0.1. And I believe if you read the newsletter that over the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to get to version 3 and 4 and 5, where it's doing a lot of this stuff for you. You'll be able to use voice, which means like Siri. You'll be able to have Siri do these things. You'll have lots of your information in there. And it'll just get better and better. And whether this is scary to you or repulsive to you because you never want some computer to order your spouse flowers, I'm not sharing a point of view on it. I'm just sharing with you, hopefully in this video, how these things are working. And it's a little bit crazy to think that there's a mouse moving around on your behalf. But that's where we're going with these things to a degree, at least in this first phase. And that's Operator.